Alright guys, so here's the review of the San Martin SN0135G. So this is actually something pretty interesting. It's a new watch from them, and it's got some interesting stuff going on. Some new interesting stuff they've not done before. So I'll quickly pop it to one side, and then I'll briefly show you the packaging and passing. So it's the standard San Martin packaging they're using on most of their watches now, just in case you haven't seen it before. And here it is. So they do two different versions with this one. They do this white dial that I've got, and they also do it in black as well. And they are enamel dials as well, which is nice. But before we get into any more details, first of all let's go over the dimensions. So when it comes to the diameter, we've got a case diameter of 39mm, but the bezel does stick out ever so slightly past that, so that's 40mm. Thickness of 13, lug width of 20, and then when it comes to the lug to lug, that's coming in at 48.5, but as you can probably see, we've actually got solid end links on this, and you can see that centre link is ever so slightly longer than the two outside ones, but it does actually line up with the case, so it doesn't protrude past that, despite it being a somewhat male end link. So when it comes to the weight on this supplied strap, this Milanese style strap, it's coming in at 134 grams with all links included, and then size for my 7-inch wrist, it's coming in at about 129. But it isn't your standard Milanese clasp, so we'll go into this in a bit more detail and talk about it. So I haven't seen this style of Milanese strap before. If you have, let me know down in the comments. So we can see we've actually got links there in the Milanese strap, which is something different. So we've got some nice articulation in that, so it does conform to wrist really nicely. And we've also got screw links as well, which again is a nice touch. It's definitely not your standard cheap Milanese strap. It's definitely done to a high quality, as you've come to expect from San Martin. And this carries over as well into the new clasp. And it's a really compact one. We've still got that San Martin hexagonal logo on the top, but then if I turn it over to the side, you can see we've got no micro adjust or anything there. But if we open it up with those double pushers, we've got a milled clasp, and this is where it gets interesting. So if I get to zoom in a bit closer, you can see we've actually got on the fly adjust there, which is really impressive for a clasp this small. Really easy to use. You can just push that button in, slide it back. You can even slide it without pressing the button, so you can change it whilst wearing it on wrist. And despite it being such a small clasp, you've still got a decent amount of adjustment there, as you can see. So really impressed with this. It'll be interesting to see if they start using this one on some other watches going forward, because as I say, it is really nice and compact. Now moving on to the head of the watch. We've got pretty standard kind of style case as you'd expect for this kind of watch. Not a lot of curvature to it, but it's nicely finished. So fully brushed, then we've got that signed crown there with the hexagonal logo, and then we've just got some polished details on the edge. And again, you can see those solid end links on there. So you don't end up with that gap that you normally have on the Milanese strap. So I think it's integrated quite nicely. And as I say, lines up perfectly with the case. Well, that centre link does at least. It's a little bit odd that they've done the other two slightly smaller, but with the way the bracelet articulates, it works. So as well as those polished chamfers on the case, you've also got that polished chamfer detail around the bottom of the bezel. Now moving on to the dial though. And as I said, it's an enamel dial. So we've got applied indices, printed logo at the top, and then the text down at the bottom, so GMT, automatic, 100 metres, 330 feet. Then over at the 3 o'clock we've got that date window, just a printed border, not applied again. When it comes to the hands, we've got nice proportions on all of them. And you might have also noticed as well, depending on the angle this is at, the hands look either silver or black, like the surround on them. Same with the indices. It's an interesting design touch, but on this white dial, when they go silver, it can be a little bit difficult to see. Obviously I'm imagining that won't be as much of a problem with the black dial, but if you are interested in that one, don't take my word for it, just try and find a review for that specific dial version, because obviously I can't comment on that because I haven't had hands-on experience with it. When it comes to the bezel, it's a fixed 24-hour stainless steel bezel, nicely finished again, matching the finishing on the rest of the case, so it's mainly brushed, and then we've got that polished chamfered edge. When it comes to the crystal, you might be able to see a little bit of distortion around the edge, it's because we've got a top hat style crystal on this. So you get a tiny bit of distortion, as I say, around the edge. But other than that, it's pretty clear. Got a decent amount of AR on there as well. But now let's check out if it is actually sapphire. Using the trusty diamond selector 2. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal, which at this point is pretty much a given with AliExpress watches now. Now getting onto the movement, and as you'd expect, yep, it's an NH34. So if we unscrew it, pop it out to the first position, and then we can change the GMT hand. That will snap to each individual increment. And then if we turn it the other way, we can change the date. pop it out to the second position, second hand stops, so we've got hacking, and then we can just change the time, and obviously that GMT hand will move with them as well. Pop it back in, second hand re-engages, hand winding, all works well, no issues, and nice grippy crown, good size as well, so screwing it back down isn't a problem. So you're probably wondering now, what's the loom like on this? Is it up to San Martin's usual standards? Let's find out. So we've got a decent amount there already, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. And there we go. So as you can see, this is really glowing at the moment. So much so that it's actually reflecting off the crystal and off that white dial. So it almost looks like it's a fully loomed dial. So you're probably expecting this to be BGW9, but it's actually BGWX1. And there's plenty of it on there. And with those applied indices, they've obviously been able to fill them, so you get a really good amount on there. And we've also got some on the GMT hand and also on the tip of that second hand as well. So hopefully that'll last as long as the rest, so you can actually still use that GMT function at night as well. Because at the moment, it's all looking really good. All consistent, no patchiness or anything. But the question is, as I say, what is the longevity like? So let's speed this up a bit now and see. So initially at least, it's not really changing too much. We've not really got that glow from the dial and the crystal anymore, so it's not looking like a fully loomed dial. But the indices and the hands are all still really bright, including on that GMT hand and also the second hand. So really impressive loom, as we've come to expect from San Martin. They never disappoint. So hopefully you can see there's some really interesting and impressive stuff going on with this watch, but you probably want to see what it's like on wrist before you make up your mind whether you want to pick one up or not. And we'll also go over the pros and cons as well. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. And it does wear really nicely, as you'd expect, with that on-the-fly adjustable clasp and also those removable links. And I do also like these solid end link pieces, so you don't have that gap as you normally would with the Milanese style strap. Integrates really nicely. I just think overall they've done a really good job with it. It's a really cohesive design that works well, I think. And it is something a little bit different too, with that Milanese style strap. And then, despite having that pretty flat case, because we've got a compact lug to lug, it still wears really nicely as well. But it's not perfect, no watch is. There are a couple of little minor things that I would change, maybe add another layer or two of AR. There's a decent amount, but you can never have too much. But when it comes to those hands on this white one in particular, because they go silver on certain angles and certain lighting conditions, they do kind of blend into the dial a bit. So perhaps it would have been better to just make them a proper solid black, but then you would lose some of the interest in the light play and stuff. So let me know what you think. What would you prefer? Other than that though, I've got two other minor ones. I'd like to see an applied logo on the dial as opposed to just a printed one, and maybe an applied surround around that date window as well, kind of matching in with the indices. And as you guys know, I'd probably prefer it down on the 6 as well, but again, that's just me. So as you can see, not really a lot to complain about with this one, and some really interesting stuff with this bracelet and this clasp. Do really like these. And again, it'll be interesting to see if they start using this more compact clasp on some other watches, because it definitely works well. And I think it looks really good as well because it isn't too big. It just adds a different dimension to the watch, having this kind of style strap, I think, as opposed to your standard bracelet. So if you're interested in picking one up, link is down in the description as always. That is an affiliate link, it does help support the channel, but you don't pay any extra. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.